Hey everybody, so we are going to continue on with the Declaration of Independence. Yesterday we learned a little bit about our rhetorical appeals, ethos, pathos, logos, and now we're going to dig a little bit deeper into this document. So this is on page 24 of your book. I would open that up so you can see it, but the same thing is on this slide, so if you don't have a book for some reason, please let me know if you still need a book. And yeah, you can view this slide if you'd like. But this is on page 24 of our American Literature textbook. So this model right here from paragraph 2 of the text shows two sample annotations along with questions and conclusions. You're going to close read the passage and find another detail to annotate, then write a question and your conclusion. Okay, so annotate. Okay, so let's just read the little paragraph first. When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, a decent respect to opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. All right, so here are some sample annotations here. These words seem to be gentle, right? Necessary, dissolve, decent, impel, separation. Why might Jefferson have chosen such language? Why is he trying to be more gentle? And then you're going to try and conclude or answer that question. So perhaps he wanted to make his argument sound reasoned and logical and not angry, not emotional, right? So another thing, this is very grand language referring to all of human history, right? When in the course of human events. So what do you think Jefferson presents his argument in this context of entirety of human history? And then the conclusion, Jefferson is saying that the severing of political ties between nations is of a momentous importance. Jefferson knows this crap is going in the history books for y'all in 2021 to read about, right? So what you're going to do now is revisit a different section from the text that you found important. So go back through the Declaration of Independence. It's only a couple of pages. Okay, so what is something that you annotated in the annotation square of your guided reading chart? Okay, that'll be the easiest to revisit. And then you're going to annotate. So you're going to right here write what is something that you noticed in the section, and then you're going to tell me which section it was in, obviously, what question you might have, and then what might you answer, what could you conclude is the answer to that question for number 2, okay? So try and follow these examples. There's a lot of good passages to choose from. So after you've done that, you can pause me if you'd like. I'm basically just going through the directions and giving some examples, okay? So you're going to respond to the following questions in a different color. It's easier for me to read when it's not in the black color that the questions are written in, okay? Remember to restate the question in your answer. Also cite textual evidence to support your answer. So I helped you out with number 1, okay? So make inferences. Why does Jefferson begin with points about human rights before discussing the colonists' specific grievances? And here's my example for an answer. Jefferson begins with points about human rights before discussing the colonists' specific grievances because, right, I'm restating the question, Jefferson is preparing to contrast the rights that colonists claim with the king's behavior. And here's my evidence. Here's a quote I found. So I just put a comma after my answer and then quotation marks with the quote. All having an indirect object, the establishment of an absolute tyranny over these states. And I found that in page 19, paragraph 3. So I've done number 1 for you. Now you need to do numbers 2 through 5. So interpret. What does Jefferson mean by saying that people do not change governments for light reasons? Speculate why might people be more inclined, sorry, I have a typo, to put up with the government is less than satisfactory rather than change it. Okay, so first part, Why do you think that Jefferson says that he doesn't want to change government for light reasons? Do you think that he has real valid heavier reasons? Not just like, oh, I don't really like this person, so I don't want them to be in charge of our government. Or does he have better reasons than that, right? Interpret there. And B, so speculate why might people be more inclined to put up with a government. I gotta fix this right now because it's driving me crazy. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Why does Jefferson mean? Oh my gosh. Why might people be more inclined to put up with a government that is less than satisfactory rather than change it? So, why do you think that people back then, they were under King George's rule for a while, right? And they're like, this sucks. He's not even over here. He's taxing us and then just spending his money like a fancy rich person that he's getting from us. That sucks, right? So basically, why do you think, right? This is interpret. So this is all up to you, but you have to use textual evidence to support why people may just stick with a government they don't like versus trying to make a change. So what do you think about that? Okay. Next. Hold on. Sorry. Next is generalize. So according to Jefferson, oh my gosh, what is up with my typos, yo? Core thing to Jefferson, what has been the king's attitude towards the laws of the colonies? Okay, so as it's saying according to Jefferson, because he's the dude who wrote the Declaration of Independence. So why do you think that Jefferson is saying what has been the king's attitude towards the laws of the colonies? Okay, and then remember to cite your quote. B, analyze. Why is that attitude an important factor in the decision to declare independence? So why is the king's attitude towards the colonies, in Jefferson's perspective, an important factor in declaring independence? Okay. Next is historical perspective. So the signer of the Declaration of Independence knew that their announcement could mean war with a powerful, well-equipped Britain. In your opinion, why isn't that idea more prominent in the document? Why do you think? Again, this is your opinion. You're just putting what you think it means. You just have to put a relevant quote that supports what you're saying, okay? And lastly, we have our essential question. What do you think the meaning of freedom is? What have you learned about American freedom from reading the Declaration of Independence? How does Jefferson connect the meaning of freedom to the idea of human rights? Okay, and again, you're going to put a quote to support your answer. All right, next we have analyze, craft, and structure. So this is just notes, you don't have to do anything on this page. So the author's purpose for argumentation. An argument is writing that is meant to get readers to think in a certain way or to take a particular action. In an effective argument, the writer presents reasons and supports them with convincing evidence. He or she also uses a variety of persuasive appeals or ways of framing ideas for a specific effect. So we have appeals to emotion or pathos, right? Ideas or language that attempts to influence readers' feeling, appeals to emotions. It may include changed language. Strong words with powerful connotations, right? A connotation is a feeling that the word evokes, as well as references to the divine, references to concepts like justice and fairness in stories or anecdotes. So if you don't know what an anecdote is, it's like a personal story. So if I said that one time I was in Washington, D.C., and I saw the Declaration of Independence. I think it's actually in Philadelphia, but whatever. One time I was in Philadelphia and I saw the Declaration of Independence, and I thought it was really cool, but it looked like fake. That's an anecdote, right? That's a story that I'm telling. It's not true. I've never seen the Declaration of Independence. You know what I mean? Next we have appeals to logic or logos. Ideas or language that connects to readers' rationality or reason. Appeals to logic emphasize relationships between evidence, such as facts, and consequences or outcomes. And last, we have appeals to authority or ethos. Ideas or language that suggest the writer has a special expertise, so they're an expert in something, or demonstrates character in a way that merits readers' attention on the subject. So even if I don't have a PhD in selling Girl Scout cookies, maybe I have consumed Girl Scout cookies for my 26 years on this earth, and I can have character, and maybe you're like, at least maybe she does have some credibility on Girl Scout cookies, right? I've been thinking about Samoas, guys. All right, so here's your assignment. Analyze, craft, and structure. So respond to the following questions in complete sentences. You have to restate the question in your answer, like I've been asking you to do. I want you to do this on all of your assignments. And then again, you need to support your answer with evidence from the text. And this is on page 25. I do not know why it says and structure. Sorry, y'all. Oops, from the text. There we go. And I gave you some examples again. Remember to write in a different color so I can see it. So number 1A, what appeal to emotion does Jefferson use in paragraph 1? What pathos is he using here? So Jefferson appeals to emotion in paragraph 1 by using the word unanimous. And why is this an important technique for him to use as he begins his argument? This is an important technique for him to use as he begins his argument because unanimity, right? If you're unanimous, it means that everybody's on the same page. Everybody wants something to happen. There's no naysayers. Everybody's saying yay, right? So because unanimity suggests that decision is correct, and everyone feels the same way. I'm sorry, school just ended and I'm having trouble reading. Okay, so everybody feels the same way, which gives you a feeling of, oh, all right, so that's like the bandwagon approach that we talked about yesterday with pathos, right? Everybody's doing it, so I should do it too. Okay, so there's my example. So you're going to start at number 2. So you're going to highlight examples of appeals to emotion in this excerpt from paragraph 2. Sorry. And to highlight, your PowerPoint should look like this. Make sure you're on the Home tab, and then you click this little highlighter. If you don't have this up here, it's in the little ... and you can click highlight. Okay, so let me play this so you can see it. So highlight examples of appeals to emotion, so pathos, in this excerpt from paragraph 2. Okay. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty, to throw off such a government and to provide new guards for their future security. Such has been patient sufferance of these colonies, and such is now the necessity which constrains them to alter their former systems of government. The history of the present king of all Great Britain is a history of repeated injuries and usurpations, all having in direct object the establishment of an absolute tyranny over these states. So highlight the words that you feel evokes emotion. For example, abuses, tyranny, right? There's a bunch more just in that passage. And then B, how do you think the description of Great Britain and its king constitute changed language? Charged language, sorry. So charged as in emotionally charged, right? So what are some descriptions of the king and Britain that constitute this charged language? So cite specific words here. So You'll say this description of Great Britain and its king constitute charged language by using words such as abuses and tyranny, showing how bad having Britain take control of the colonies has been for the colonists, right? Number 3A, which kind of appeal is represented by Jefferson's organized list of grievances? So do you think that's ethos, pathos, or logos? How does the evidence he provides add to his argument? So what do you think? Okay. And lastly, number 4. Jefferson wrote this document during the age of reason, an era characterized by logic and scientific methodology. How does the Declaration of Independence reflect Jefferson's faith in reason? So what do you think there, right? How does the Declaration of Independence show that Jefferson has faith in reasoning? And then provide a quote to support your answer, okay? So please let me know if you have any questions on this, and do your very best, okay? Please be restating your the questions in your answer and also be citing evidence, okay? Just like what I put right here. This is page 19, paragraph 3. Please tell me where you found it, okay? I really need that. All right, have a beautiful, wonderful rest of your day. I'll see y'all soon. Please let me know if you need help, okay?